Hello, everyone, and welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here for Generation Prodigy, and tonight you are in for a treat. And so, to kick us off, we have one of our youth, one of our teens, who will be hosting on tonight. And so, I'll be still on, but we're going to have I'm going to introduce to you Miss Zaya Gardner. And so, we're going to bring her on. So, come on, hey, everybody, give her a shout out.
Hi.
Woo! So everybody tonight, so please feel free to like, share, and put some comments in the comment section if you have any questions. And let's bring the emojis out on tonight too. So we're gonna pass it into the hands of Zaya. Zaya, take it away.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well, and welcome to Team Talk with Generation Prodigy. So, as she said, my name is Zaya Gardner, and I'm going to be your host for tonight. And our special guest is Philip Christine, and he will introduce and launch our discussion today on the principles of life. So, as teens, we have so many things we have to deal with in life, and we can always use a bit of advice and encouragement coming from someone with wisdom. So let's get everything started. And I'm excited to introduce our panel tonight. And we're going to get started with introducing some of the teams that are participating. So, first we have Langston. Then we have London.
Hey.
And Taj.
Hey.
And we have Jackson and Jason. Or Jason, I'm sorry. And finally, we have our special guest, and we are going to welcome in Mr. Philip Christine.
Hey, how y'all doing today? Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Is it okay for me to start, Tanya? I can't hear you.
We are so excited. So yes, it's in the hands of you, Mr. Philip Christie. Thank you for being our guest on tonight. And thank you, Zaya. Awesome job.
Yes, it was. I talk to a lot of young people and I encourage a lot of young people. And I start by letting young men know that every man is a male, but every male is not a man. And it's funny when I talk to a lot of young people, especially when it's one-on-one, they sort of look at me like, wait, say that again? Every man is a male, but every male is not a man. And the difference is a man have character. A male is a character. Now, I don't know if you ever been able to watch a movie before and you were able to determine what the person that was acting would do next. And you say, like, watch him set his best friend up. And I may say to you, how you know? You like, just watch. And in the next scene, he sets his best friend up. And I'm like, how did you know that? And you're like, watch this. And then you say, now watch him try to get his best friend fired. And I'm like, well, no, because they go back to elementary school. They like real good friends. And then the next thing, in the next scene over, he turns around and he get his best friend fired. Now, I don't know if any of you all have ever been able to watch a movie and go basically from the beginning of the movie all the way to the end, you were able to tell everything that was about to happen before it happened. Have anybody ever experienced that before? Okay, so let me tell you what you're doing when that's happening. What you're doing is you're studying their character. And based on their character, you're able to process in your mind their next move. Now, what that takes is for you to remove your emotions from out of how you're thinking, how you're processing it. That's why when I said in the movie, watch him set his best friend up, you was like, it doesn't have nothing to do with that. Watch. See, my emotions was involved, but the way you were able to process it, you like, that has nothing to do with it. What you did was you took your emotions out of it. I was emotional about it, and yet you were accurate with it. So at the end of the movie, what I asked you was this: how were you able to do it? And you explained to me, I studied their character. Character is everything. All you have to do is sit back and study your friend's character. Now, sometimes you have to pull your emotions out of it. And that's the hard part. See, it's easy to do it in a movie, but when it comes to your best friend, when it comes to somebody you grew up with, when it comes to your sister and your brother, sometimes it's even with family members. So we have to pull our emotions out of it and look at their behavior. Um, it's very important for us all to know that every man is a male, but every male is not a man. But it's also just as important to know every woman is a female, but every female is not a woman. And again, it comes back down to character. You being able to process in your mind what character means. And I think personally, when you look at who we are as a people and who we are as even you all as young people, when you are growing up, what's happening is you are using your judgment to determine who you want to hang around with. For example, I've heard a lot of young people say, only God can judge me. Only God can judge me. Only God can judge me. Y'all judge me. Y'all judge me. Let me explain something to you about that. If I sent you to a store to buy me 12 apples, do you pick up the first 2 apples and say, okay, the first 2 are right, they're good, so I'm just going to grab the other 10? Or do you judge every single apple one by one, right? And what you're doing is you're judging every single apple all the way to the core. And in the core of an apple is a seed. A seed is the origin in which the fruit comes from. So when I meet you, I'm not judging you, I'm judging your fruit. See, when you say something to me or when I watch you do something, I judge it from the outside all the way to the core like fruit. And then I look at the seed. And the seed is ultimately what tells me the origin and what you're saying is coming from. Like, for example, if you say, let's go out and drink, or let's go out to the club, let's go out and smoke, I have to judge every single thing you say. And then I judge it all the way to the core. And then in the core is the seed. Now, here's the crazy thing. I can cut open an apple right in front of you, and I can pull the seed out of the apple, out of the core. And yet I can look at you and tell you, now this seed just came from an orange. And immediately y'all will say, no, you're wrong. Why? Because most of us know what an orange seed looks like. It's white. What I'm looking at is an apple seed. That's how I look at sometimes when I study people and sinful nature and behavior. Can't nobody come to me and tell me something sinful is of God. Why? Because I judge what you say, I judge what you do as a fruit, and I judge it all the way to the core. And there's no way in the world I can let somebody tell me something that's of sin is of God. We have got to process that. Now, let me show you how much God loves all of us. I tell people he's not my father. He's not your father. He's our father. And imagine this with me if you can. Imagine you having a very wealthy mother or a very, very wealthy father, okay? And every time you would go out and you would say, little Billy down the street got a swimming pool in his backyard. Can I get a swimming pool? And little Billy had like a little blow up pool in his backyard. But what your dad went and did was built you an Olympic sized pool in the backyard, a very big pool. So then you stop swimming and then you decide, you know what? Now I want to learn how to play basketball. So when you came home, your dad had a full course basketball, back and forth basketball set up in your backyard for you to play full court basketball. Okay. So now watch what's happening. Your father is so rich. Your parents are so rich. What they're doing is everything you desire, everything you want, they're giving it to you. Okay. Now, sometimes it may take them a lot longer to get it sometimes, but in the end run, just keep following me because I'm going somewhere with this. Then all of a sudden, for your birthday, you come home and outside in your backyard is the biggest screen TV ever. And it's set up for you to play all your video games. I mean, the screen is so massively big. Everybody from around the whole neighborhood, watch what happens. They come to your home to play video games. Other people playing basketball. Other people are in your swimming pool. everybody's enjoying your home. Now, here's the trick part right here. I decide to go outside in the backyard with my best friend, and all of a sudden, I see a drone fly over my home. I see a drone fly over my home. And so me and my best friend start looking at the drone, and he says, you know, Mike across the street has a drone. And so I'm watching it. Now, let me explain something to you. Anything you look at long enough, you magnify, okay? And if you magnify it long enough, you begin to glorify it. And if you glorify it long enough, you begin to worship that thing. Which brings me to a scripture, James chapter 1:14. It says, but every man, when he is tempted, he's drawn away by his own lust and enticed. For a long time, I knew that scripture, but I didn't understand that scripture. So now imagine my father telling me, you can go outside, but don't go outside the gate. Okay? Do not go outside the gate. Everything that you can have fun with, everything you can possibly enjoy in life, everything, your swimming pool is back there, the big screen for your games is back there. I brought you the basketball court, that's back there, everything. But all of a sudden, I'm in the backyard with my best friend looking at a drone. And I keep staring at it, and I'm like, I want one. I want y'all to pay attention to this. I want one. I want it. And I keep watching it, and I keep watching it. Now I'm beginning to magnify it. I want it. I want it. And I keep watching them just zigzag all over the sky. And so my best friend says, I'm running across the street to Mike's house. Come on, let's go. And I say, well, I'm not supposed to go outside the gate. And so we run to the front of the house where the drone is. And Mike brings it all the way down to eye level. And it's right there in front of me. And so my best friend opened up the gate and he runs across the street. And I'm like, you know what? I want to go across the street too. So I run across the street with him, and watch what happens. The neighbor pit bull gets out. So now we shut the gate across the street, and I'm not able to come back home. Why? Because there's danger. So watch what happened. I stepped outside the gate and went across the street, and now I'm not able to go back home. And so now I'm yelling for my father, because I find myself in an awkward position where it's getting late now. It's getting later, and it's getting later. And God knows I was not supposed to go outside the gate. And I'm going somewhere with this. I'm almost there. Watch this. Finally, my dad comes outside, and he yells at me, and he says, come here. And I said, there's a dog outside. So he ended up getting the dog situation taken care of, and I come back home. Now, here's the problem. All I really had to do was go to my father and say, Dad, I would love to have a drone. I mean, he done set the situation up where I had a swimming pool. He turned around and made me have a basketball court. Then he turned around and he gave me the big game system in the backyard. So everything I desired, he always gave me. And so the problem is this: a lot of us always go outside the gate. The gate in this case is grace and mercy. There is so much freedom that we have in Christ. And when we go to God as our Father and we say, God, can we go outside? And God says, yes, but I don't want y'all to go outside of grace and mercy. See, you can go outside and so don't get me wrong. When you're in grace and mercy, things can still happen. I can go outside in the backyard and still drown in the swimming pool that my father had dug up for me. I could still break my ankle playing basketball. But see, but all that is in grace and mercy. But when I step outside of grace and mercy and I get hurt, that's a whole different type of injury. So I encourage you, young people, that when you are out here in life, living your life, remember there's a gate that you're not supposed to go out of. And that gate is called grace and mercy. Stay inside the gate. And what tempts y'all is when you keep looking at things outside the gate. When the devil went to Eve, he didn't show her all the trees that she could eat from. If we started naming off all the trees that they could eat from, I could probably only get to maybe 15 or 20 different trees, like banana trees, apple trees, coconut trees. But God said every tree y'all can eat from but one. You see what happened? And so what she did was she began to look at the one tree that she couldn't have. What about all the other things, the benefits that y'all have when God says, go out here and have fun? We have so much freedom in Christ, but I encourage you all to stay inside of grace and mercy. Do not let your friends draw you out, and do not be enticed. God does not tempt you. You are tempted by your own desires. When you keep looking at something somebody else have, and you keep looking at it long enough, you begin to magnify it. And once you magnify it, you glorify it. And once you glorify it, you worship it. And now this thing that you're worshiping becomes bigger than God, which caused disobedience. That's what caused me to go outside of grace and mercy when I went across the street to my friend's house. Had I just said, you know what? My father told me not to go outside of grace and mercy. Those were his instructions. Now, I was telling this to Sister Tanya not long ago. I said proper instructions motivate people, not instructions, but proper instructions. It is so important that we give proper instructions to the young people so that when y'all walk out from this forum right here, you can have in your mind, okay, there's certain things outside of grace and mercy I'm not doing no more. I don't care what it looked like. I don't care who doing it. I will stay inside of grace and mercy. There's so much freedom that God has given me. There's so much space and air that God has given me. And again, don't get me wrong. You can still get hurt in grace and mercy, but it's not the same pain you feel outside of grace and mercy. Are y'all understanding me? So I want all of you all to be encouraged. I want all of y'all to stay positive. And remember this, anytime you're dealing with a negative account, remember this, everything in life is an account. And anytime you put negative interest on a negative account, the deficit on that account grows greater negative. Not because the account is negative, but because your interest is negative. See, you can put so much negative interest on a negative account that the interest outdo the principal. And so, and interest is not personal. Interest is principle. We have got to start learning how to take positive interest. And this is what I do myself. As long as I can see God in what I'm going through, I don't care about anything else. I don't care if I have to use a straw and look through a straw hole just to see what God sees. That's all my focus is. And you know why? Because anything I look at long enough, I magnify. Anything I magnify, I glorify. Anything I glorify, I worship. And guess what I'm looking at? I'm looking at the answer that God has given me, and that's what I'm worshiping. Y'all got that? Take these principles and apply them to life. Always have negative interest. And don't get me wrong, don't go with all that. I don't want nobody negative around me. I don't want nobody negative around me. Because here's the thing, when you jump start a car, you need the negative on the battery. You need to hook up to the negative on the battery, just like you need to hook up to the positive. If you take the negative off of the battery, you will not get the current. Negative produce current. It helps produce current. Positive, as long as you stay positive and you got negative people around you telling you you can't do something, watch what happens. That negative, you can't, through Christ, I can do all things. Watch what happens. That produces the current. So understand, you do need negative current in your life. Whether you're a Christian, you're going to go through negative things, and whether you're a sinner, you're going to go through negative things on both sides. Once you get saved, it's not about you're not going to go through anything anymore. We still are going to go through. Just remember this, in your thoughts, do not allow your thoughts to take you outside of grace and mercy. We are all tempted by the own lust of our own desire. Watch what you are looking at. Watch what you are paying attention to. God bless you.
That was awesome. Thank you. Yeah, come on, let's give him a hand. All right. So we're dealing with, what would you say out of your whole, as you were sharing and talking about, um, one of the points you made was that not every male is a man and not every female is a woman.
Every man is a male, but every male is not a man.
Okay.
And the difference is character.
Okay. Yeah.
You got that?
Yeah.
See, let me just say it like this. When God said, let us make man in Genesis 1:26, he said, God said, let us make man in our own image. So in the image of God, he created he, him, male and female. Watch this. In Genesis 1:26, he said, let us make man in our image. Let him have rulership over the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, and everything that creeps upon the face of the land. So in the image of God, he created he, him, male and female. He created he, them. Look at the switch. In Genesis 1:26, he said, let us make man. But in Genesis 1:27, what happened? He birthed us in earth as male and female. We were supposed to grow, develop, and mature into the man he saw in 1:26. In other words, if we all came together and said, come, let us make a multi-billion-dollar company, okay? And we will create generational wealth. Okay. Now, in the very next sentence, guess what? We don't have that $1 billion. Now we have to actually go out there and make it. So we were supposed to grow, develop, and mature into the man God saw. The problem with so many people is you have a 60-year-old male, you have a 50-year-old male, you have a 20-year-old male, you have a 35-year-old male, you have a 35-year-old female. We never grew, developed, and mature into the man that God said, or the woman that God said in Genesis 1:26. It's a process.
So we have a lot of growing up to do, in other words.
A lot of us do. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So
and it's not a one-step moment. It's every single day you're maturing. And see, that's the thing. Always watch your character. The most important thing about you is your character. Character is everything.
I agree wholeheartedly. So we have our teens on the line. So Zaya, any questions that you want to start off with, or anyone in our listening audience, or any of our teens have any questions? You have to unmute your device.
Right now I don't have any questions that I can think of, but if I do, I will ask.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, I want to ask some questions on their behalf, because I know sometimes, once we get going, and if any parents out there have any questions when it comes to um, dealing with just some of the dynamics that some of the kids face, dealing with life, especially growing, because like y'all are at that crucial stage where transition in life takes place. So like I was listening to London, I'm like, I remember him when he was a little boy, and then now I'm like, I'm hearing this deep, deep, deep voice, But with that transition, there is a transition of different challenges that you're going to have to face. So with predominantly most of my guys on the call today, so for the guys, how are you transitioning? With life, do you feel that it's a challenge coming from being a little boy to now into your adolescent years and teenage years and soon young adult years? What are you finding some of the greatest challenges as a young man that you're facing?
No one has challenges? Wow, that's amazing. I need to be a part of their group.
I think he's trying to fix his camera. Hold on, until he get it adjusted, let him give it time to adjust it. So y'all can just nod your head then. Would you say that it was easier? Would you say that it was easier when you were younger, as a toddler, and then compared to now as you're entering your teenage years? Zion said yes. How about for the guys? Yeah. Would you say because of responsibilities, or what area specifically would you say is probably the most challenging right now?
I would say when you're younger, you're just like mostly having fun. But as you get older, people like develop their own ideas, and not everybody like agrees. And you just get to see like different sides of people, and you get to see like if they're negative or positive, and whether you want to like be in communication with them or not.
Absolutely.
And also, like, I feel like when you're older, you're more like people depend on you more than they would if you were like a kid or something. That's another thing that I've noticed.
That's good.
But you know what? Now, because sometimes you have some young people that are so mature that you can find yourself being able to depend on somebody very young than you can somebody that's older. Because sometimes a good kid is just a good kid. You know, that kid that never asks for anything and always get everything. I mean, sometimes sometimes I have friends that take their kids out and they just sort of sit back and just watch what they go after, what they touch. Because when they ask them, well, do you want that? Their answer is no. And I'm sitting up here like, wow, where did this kid come from? So sometimes young people can be more dependable than older people. All that comes down to your character. If you are a child or if you are a teenager that constantly listens to your parents, you will get a lot more from them, and you will also get a lot more leniency. If you're a child that always or a teenager that's always sneaking out the house, and now all of a sudden something you really want to do something and it goes past your curfew, guess what? 9 times out of 10, if they let you go out, you're gonna have to come back in by your curfew. But if you have always met the deadline of your curfew, always, you matter of fact, you always came a half hour in before, and on your way out the door, and I'm like, be back by 2. And you're like, wait, what? Be back by 2. And I smile at you. You know why? It's because I trust your judgment. You have shown me so well how well you listen to me. And guess what? You come back by 10 o'clock anyway. So even though I gave you the grace to go out and stay longer, you still didn't go outside of that. So now I'm like, wow. So now when it comes to trying to get you a car or you want to get a car, guess what? I'm like, I trust her with a car. I trust her buying a car. I trust him getting a car. Why? Because you have showed me character. That's what it comes out to, your character. If your friends can convince you to do the opposite of what I tell you, I have some serious things I got to deal with you. But if your friends can say, well, let's go do this, and you're like, well, no, my parents told me I can't, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go outside the gate. And even in your mind, you don't have to tell them you're not going outside the gate. Tell yourself, I'm not going outside this gate. I bet you if a pit bull was outside that gate and they said, let's run across the street, I bet you'd be like, I'm not going outside that gate. Or somebody was outside shooting a gun and they're like, come on, let's go see who's shooting. I ain't going outside that gate. You see what I'm saying? So, but if I say, oh, wow, look at that girl out there. She is beautiful. Let's go outside that gate. You see what I'm saying? It should be saying, we should have the same, I'm not going outside that gate. You see what I'm saying? If a 5-year-old is looking outside the gate and he's looking at the little car across the street that the little boy is playing with, and the 16-year-old is looking outside the gate and he's looking at the young people playing basketball, the 16-year-old is not tempted by the ball that the 5-year-old is looking at, and the 5-year-old is not tempted by this older young people that are playing basketball. The 5-year-old have his lust and his desire, which is a little ball that he sees the little boy across the street playing with. So we all have our own lust and desire inside of us. But the question is, can we keep ourselves from going outside the gate? That's the thing. And the gate, what is the gate? Can anybody remember? What did I tell you the gate is? The gate that God set up for all of us. Come on, Zaya. I see you. Grace and mercy. That is the gate we do not want to go outside of. There is so much freedom inside of grace and mercy. But the thing is, we have to look at what's inside the gate. Look inside of what God has given us. And sometimes, being young, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it gets boring looking at what he has given us until we run outside the gate and get in trouble. Anybody else have a comment?
And you hit on some very good points, because a lot of things look appealing. And so, as you were saying, like if we see a pit bull on the other side who is very angry and hungry, we're not likely to go outside to meet that dog at all.
No,
If anything, we're going to turn the other way. If somebody, we see people out there shooting and say, come on, let's go. No, we're not trying to go on that side of the street.
No, we're
But
not.
something is appealing and appetizer. I like to use this example too. So you made a reference to the Garden of Eden. So I always look at the tree of knowledge and good and evil. And so if there is just some good things like candy. So if I like gummy bears and gummy worms that are made by Black Forest and they're organic. And so they have the best flavor in the world. So if you've never had it, it's not a desire. But once you taste a piece of that
Right.
candy, everything
Right.
changes. So
Absolutely.
now you crave it because you've tasted it. There is a craving for it. So it's almost like so if there are things in life, if you start to experience it, even if sometimes you try to get away from it, your body will crave it if your body has had an experience with it. So now, that's a whole nother topic. We start getting into um, some things we probably should not be engaged. We definitely should not be engaging at this stage of life, and that's going to be another
Absolutely.
topic that we tackle, at a different time. But we're dealing with principles of life, of life on
Absolutely.
tonight. Anybody else in our listening audience have questions? Oh, this is a good one. So someone is asking for the teens, do you see maturity in yourself? And are you pleased at this point with your growth as a teen? So do you see maturity in yourself? And are you pleased at this point with your growth as a teen? That's a good question. Thumbs up. Anybody want to, say something? I see thumbs up.
I got
Yeah.
a question to ask you. What do you see in your growth that lets you know that you're growing
Oh, you
as
have
a
to unmute
teen?
your phone, London. I heard him. I think he was saying something. You have to unmute your phone so we can hear you. There we go. Uh-oh. It muted back. Try one more time. There we go.
Um, I'm starting to be aware of more things that I wouldn't be aware of, like when I was little. So yeah, I can see growth in that too. And I'm just not doing a lot of things that I used to do that was just childish.
Right. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. Does anybody else notice changes in themselves as far as where they were and where they are now? I mean, I specifically remember my mindset when I was a kid. And, I did have to deal with levels of responsibility because I started understanding, and I guess people saw my maturity level as well. So the more um, mature they thought I was, I'll say it from that perspective, I started receiving more responsibility. Not that I necessarily
Absolutely.
liked it, but I was more responsible for it. Zaya, you're nodding your head like yes. So how many of y'all can identify like you're finding yourself being asked to do more things and to be responsible? Because I know Jackson kind of mentioned it a little bit. Todd just saying yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. So it's real. It's real. And do y'all think it's a challenge to have to deal with all these responsibilities at this stage of life? Does it scare you because adulthood is coming and you're going to have more responsibilities?
I would say it's a challenge, but then again, it like prepares you in a way. So as you get older, it's not as bad because you're kind of used to all the responsibilities.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Anybody else?
Basically, what Zaya had said I was going to say.
Okay. That's cool. Do y'all think it prepares you? Well, do you think college is going to be scary? So now, or if you decide to do tech school, military, or whatever the basis is going to be when it comes to preparing you for career, do you think it's going to be a scary moment? Because I had a young adult who is he graduated from college recently, and he was saying if he can go back to being a child again, be it to his teenage years and even his elementary school years, he would trade because of the accountability that he has to now face and deal with and also the responsibility of life. Do y'all feel prepared, or like you are scared to be prepared for that? You know, tell me something. Does that frighten you at all as teens? You're muted. I'm sorry. Your mic is muted.
I wouldn't say that I'm like scared of being an adult. I don't think I'm scared. I think it's more stuff you got to worry about. Like it's more to it. So I think that's the scary part about it.
And I agree. I feel like, you know what you want to do, but I think the scary part would be like the future, because everything is not going to be perfect. So you're going to have to work through all like the curveballs that's going to be thrown at you as you go on.
Right. Absolutely.
Let me ask more specific. What type of things would you be afraid of if that things come? Because I would hope that that we can prepare you as teens so you won't be afraid. What are some specific things that you're looking into the future like, oh, I don't want that.
Money issues,
Mm,
that's the big one.
paying bills.
Paying bills, okay, that's real. That's real talk.
Going in debt.
And you know what? Eventually, I'm going to come back
College
on.
tuition.
If Tanya ever allows me to. I want to share some things with you guys again on that because there's an easy way to figure out this whole thing without worrying about bills. Um, there's a much easier way. I was in Atlanta. Watch this. I was in Atlanta with my mom and my mom because my father had passed in January, and I went home after 30 days of being there. And my twin sister called me and said, Mom is now not doing well. So I went back to Atlanta and I was with my mom for 30 more days, right? Watch this. So I have to go home back in Phoenix. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, because I had surgery on my arm. And what happened was while I was at home for 3 days, I just happened to say, you know what? I wonder how much does it cost to go to Hawaii? And I went online and guess how much the ticket was? $74. So instead of going back home to Atlanta, I'm in Hawaii right now. Yeah, I'm in Hawaii right now, and my room is $60 a night. I have a stove, I have a kitchen, I have a refrigerator. And look, let me show y'all something.
All right, show us. Look at
And
that.
I'm showing y'all this because I trust God. Do y'all see this? It's at Waikiki Beach. When Tanya called me earlier today, I was on a sailboat, and it was hard for me to get a reception with her because we were so far out in the ocean. But look at this. This is where I am live right now, Waikiki Beach. And all I paid was $90 $90 to fly out here. $99 with tax, $73 with tax. And my room right now is $58 a night. Stove, refrigerator, everything. I had a rental car, but then I gave back the rental car because the little scooters y'all ride on here is $1 and then it's 25 cents a minute. So everything I'm sitting up here like, because I've been noticing everybody riding around on scooters, but I'm like, wow. I mean, I wonder how much they are. Everybody's on them. I found out it's $1 plus 25 cents a minute. I got rid of the rental car. So I go outside in front of the hotel. I jump on the scooter. Boom, I'm gone. Walmart. People, the food is here is expensive, sort of, kind of. When I went to Walmart, everything is maybe like a 25 cent, 50 cent, or $1 more of what I pay in America. And I understand that that stuff has to be shipped over here from America. So what I'm telling you guys is, if you trust God, I didn't come over here with no girlfriend. I didn't come over here with my boys. I came over here by myself. Y'all see what I'm saying? I didn't come over here and sin. If I would have came over here and sin, I probably wouldn't have been blessed the way I was blessed. The tickets probably would have been 1,800. The hotel room, even when I'm out talking to people and I'm telling them how much I'm paying for my room, they're telling me, "Wait, what? You got a kitchen?" I'm like, "Well, how much you paying for your room?" "I'm paying $250 a night. I'm here for 7 nights. I'm here for 10 days." And I'm like, "Really? Yeesh." Just trust God. That's all I can tell you guys. Trust God. I just went home from Atlanta just to change, just to get a different clothes, and for my doctor to see my elbow to see, because I'm doing therapy in Atlanta. So 30 days into my surgery, I have to go back to Phoenix just for my doctor to see my arm. And I'm in Hawaii. I call my mom, like, Mom, are you okay now? And she's like, what you mean? I'm like, I want to go to Hawaii right quick, real quick. And she just started laughing. But I'm telling you guys, if y'all trust God, he's not my father. He's not your father. He's our father. And the same father that loves me, I'm telling you, he loves you too. And it's funny because I was going to do this live from the beach, but I'm like, no, I ain't going to do that to y'all. Because I would
That
have
wouldn't have
loved
been
for
nice
y'all
at
to see,
all. We
I
see
would have
you.
loved for y'all to see the beauty of Hawaii and understand that all I do is look at everything as I'm not going outside the gate. Do you see I'm in Hawaii? That's inside the gate. The hotel room, that's inside the gate. Jumping on these scooters, all that is inside the gate. Yes, I can still get injured riding on a scooter by getting hit by a car, but guess what? I'm inside the gate. And that's the beauty of being here. I fly out tonight. Guess what? I'll be back in Phoenix tomorrow. 2 days later, I'll be back in Atlanta with my mom. Like, hey, Mom, does that help any of y'all? All you have to do is trust God and stay inside of grace and mercy. The gate is called grace and mercy. Say that with me, y'all. The gate is called
The gate is called
grace and mercy.
grace and mercy.
Remember that. That's the most important thing. Do not let nothing entice you inside your mind or let your friends entice you to step outside of grace and mercy. Are
This
we
is good.
all on the same page? Okay. God bless you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Christie. That was great. And I just want to just say that his dad was probably one of the most profound gentlemen that I've ever met. Um, he always shared nuggets and great wisdom, and we can see that some of that wisdom kind of trickled on a little bit on your forehead, a little, just a little bit.
Y'all take care of yourself. I got to get ready to head to the airport, but I really look forward to talking to you guys again. And I'm going to share so much more with y'all about the fear of becoming an adult, because there is something inside of you guys. There's a hidden treasure inside of you guys that if you only knew the hidden treasure that was inside of you, guess what? It will blow your mind. I'm not just talking. Ask Tanya. I own 3 clothing lines. I'm just not telling y'all what they are. I'm the founder of 3 clothing companies.
That's awesome.
And I had to go inside myself and find those things. Just remember this. Get this scripture in your head so next time we talk, y'all know where I'm coming from. There are hidden treasures in these earthly vessels. And the earthly vessel these hidden treasures are in is inside of you. So God took a treasure and he hid it inside of you. And the question is, can you find it? God bless y'all.
That's
Like they
good.
do
Thank
here.
you.
God bless. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Thank you. Wasn't that cool? See, we had it just talking on just basic principles of how uh you can just flourish in life and just a way of just thinking differently. Did y'all think that you could fly to Hawaii for $74? So it's finding great deals too. And so that's people say the sky's the limit. There's no limits as far as what you can do in life. Of course, things that are legal is a goal. So what else do y'all think? I want to make sure that tonight everybody's questions are answered. So if you have any questions out there, and even for Zaya, what did you think about tonight? What did y'all think? I want to get your thoughts now. Anything you learned or
Yes, I learned a lot. I like the way that he was teaching it as in like real life events. It made a lot of sense and it like made me sit and think like, wow, I never thought of it that way.
that's good. Anybody else?
I thought it was pretty cool. The whole the whole story time and everything. I thought it was pretty good.
That's good. Anybody else want to share thoughts? If you're going to say so, you have to unmute yourselves. There we go.
I found it very interesting on how like he was telling us about the gates and how we shouldn't pass it or we should stay within.
That's good. That's good. London, Taj.
Uh, I learned not to cross the line of grace and mercy.
That's good. That's good. And these are some great principles that will carry you throughout life. I mean, because sometimes things will happen and it'll cause you just to think twice because we have this dialogue, you know. So thank y'all for just being with us tonight. And y'all are troopers, yes. And so next month, we want everybody to join us on March 14th. We have a special guest. We have a special guest, another one who is coming on with us. And her name is Blair Priester. And so she is very young lady who's enjoyed the military, and she's now her own boss lady in the areas of real estate. And so we want to, keep inviting these young adults to kind of give you some insight as to what's happening. And so it's going to be phenomenal. So 6 o'clock next month on March 14th, which is Sunday night, again at 6 p.m., we'll be right back here with Generation Prodigy TV and our Teen Talk. And so we're so excited. We have our Trinity group on tonight. And so shout out to all the Trinity Temple Youth Department. So pretty much they've been driving our Teen Talks because Trinity Temple has the Teen Talk group there. So we appreciate y'all. So we're going to be bringing some other groups from, some of the Kansas City public schools and things like that, and just mix it up a little bit. So thank you for being with us on tonight. Thank you for sharing. Any closing remarks from anybody? From our host, Ms. Zaya, you've done a phenomenal job. Yes. Any closing remarks you would like to share for the young people on tonight?
Am I on me? Just want to say thank you. Thank you all for coming. I hope that we all learned a lot while we were on here, and that we all take something from it. Because I've been taking notes on the good points that he's been saying. So I hope that we all take it in and just keep those things along with us with life.
Awesome. And I just want to thank you for the parents that have been watching with your teens. Thank you for allowing your teenager to be a part of this experience. And thank you. Just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And as I always go, so thank you. Love y'all. Appreciate you. And there's nothing you can do about it. So until next time, March 14th, we're signing off for now. So thank you for being a part of Generation Prodigy's Teen Talk. So if your church would love a Teen Talk group, school, or community, just let us know. You can email us at generationprodigy@gmail.com or info@generationprodigy.org. Or just visit our website and just drop us a line and send us your email. And that's at generationprodigy.org. If you're interested in becoming a mentor, we're looking for individuals who are professionals that can help mentor some of the teens into their potential career. And so if you're out there and you're interested in mentoring, we could use your assistance and help. Of course, there's paperwork to complete, but we would really appreciate you. So until next time, thank you all for joining us. And for the teens, thank you for being so cool. Love y'all so much. I'm gonna get y'all every time. So until next time, March 14th, we'll be back here with the Blair Priester. So we're so excited. She's a phenomenal young lady. And so we're gonna look forward to her coming. And so if no one else has anything else to share, would y'all encourage others to be a part of this? What do y'all think? What do you think? What do you think? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, that's good. Okay, so till next time, to all of our mentors out there, keep doing what you do, and we love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So we're signing off for now. So thank you all for being a part. See you later.